It was a cold evening in the small town of Riverlane. The streetlights were dim, and the sky looked heavy with dark clouds. Inside a small house at the corner, a single dad named Eris sat on his old sofa, trying to finish his work on his phone. His 10-year-old daughter, Leah, was sleeping in her room after a long day at school. Eris worked 2 jobs, and life was not easy for him. He cooked, cleaned, worked, and took care of Leah all alone. But even with all the stress, he always kept a small smile. He believed things would get better one day. Tonight, he was tired, very tired. He opened his phone to send a message to his best friend. His friend always made him laugh, and Eris needed that laughter now. His fingers moved fast, his eyes half closed from sleep. He typed a silly flirty joke, something harmless, something meant only for his friend. But his tired brain made a big mistake. When he pressed send, the message didn't go to his friend. It went to her. The CEO. The cold, strict, powerful CEO of the company he worked at. Miss Elena Knight. A woman who never smiled, never joked, and never mixed work with emotions. Eris froze. His heart dropped. His hands started shaking. The message he sent by mistake was not a normal message. No, it was bold, playful, and very, very flirty. He unlocked his phone again and checked the screen, hoping it was a dream. But it wasn't. There it was. If you keep looking at me like that, I might fall for you, winking face. Eris covered his face with both hands. No. "No, what have I done?" he whispered. Everyone in the company feared Elena. She was smart, tough, and colder than winter air. Even her footsteps made people nervous. And he, a simple single dad, had just sent her a flirty text. He quickly typed. "Sorry. Wrong message. Please ignore." But before he could press send, his phone buzzed. Message from Elena. "I am outside." Eris stared at the screen. Outside? Outside where? Outside his house. His heart began to race so fast that he felt dizzy. He ran to the window and moved the curtain a little. And there, under the streetlight, he saw a black Audi parked in front of his home. The door opened slowly. A woman in a long black coat stepped out. Her heels clicked on the wet pavement. Her face was calm but unreadable. She looked like someone walking into a battlefield, silent but dangerous. It was Elena Knight. Eris stepped back from the window, panicking. Why is she here? Did she come to fire me? Did she come to yell at me? Or, worse, did she think I flirted with her on purpose? His thoughts went wild. He checked on Leah. She was still sleeping peacefully, unaware that her dad's entire life might be about to change. Another buzz. Another message. Open the door. Eris felt his stomach twist. He didn't know what to do. Should he hide? Should he pretend he wasn't home? Should he run away? But before he could decide, there was a sharp knock on the door. Knock. Knock. It echoed through the quiet house. Eris took a deep breath. His legs felt weak as he walked slowly toward the door. Every step felt heavy, like the world was pushing him down. He grabbed the handle. His hand shook. He pulled the door open. There she stood. Tall, serious, elegant, and looking directly into his eyes. Her expression revealed nothing. For a moment, the world went silent. Eris swallowed hard. Miss Elena. That message, it was a mistake. But she simply stepped forward. Let's talk, she said in her calm, cold voice. And just like that, Eris knew. Tonight, his life was going to change forever. Eris opened the door wider, although his hands trembled slightly. Elena Knight stepped inside like she owned not just the house, but the whole world. Her black coat shimmered under the hallway light, and the cold wind followed her in before the door closed quietly behind her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The air felt thick, like the silence had its own weight. Eris cleared his throat. "Miss Elena. I'm really sorry about the message. It was a mistake." Elena did not blink. She studied him as if he were a document she needed to sign, or shred. Her eyes moved slowly from his worried face to the simple living room behind him. A small sofa, kids drawing on the wall, a half-finished homework notebook on the table. "A mistake?" she finally asked, her voice calm, almost too calm. "Yes. I sent it to the wrong person," he said quickly, wishing he could disappear. She walked deeper into the living room, her heels making soft tapping sounds. She looked out of place in his small, warm home, like a queen standing inside a fisherman's hut. Eris followed her nervously. "Please, don't misunderstand. I would never speak like that to you. It was a joke for a friend." Elena turned a little. Her sharp gaze met his. "Do I look like someone who enjoys jokes?" Eris swallowed. "No, ma'am." Silence. She looked around again. Her eyes landed on a pair of small shoes near the door. "Your daughter lives with you?" "Yes. Just the two of us." Something in her expression softened, but only for half a second, like a tiny crack in ice. Then it disappeared. "Sit," she ordered. Eris sat immediately on the sofa. She remained standing, watching him like she was trying to understand a puzzle. "Tell me," she said slowly, "why were you sending a flirty message at this hour?" Eris hesitated, unsure how to answer without sounding foolish. "I had a long day. I was tired, and trying to make myself laugh." Elena raised one eyebrow. "By flirting?" "It wasn't real flirting. Just silly words. I didn't mean anything." She crossed her arms. "And you think sending such words to your CEO, by mistake, has no meaning?" Eris shook his head quickly. No, that's not what I mean. I'm just..." "You're just careless," she said. The words hit him like a slap, even though her voice remained calm. He lowered his eyes. "Yes. I guess I am." Elena studied him again. This time her eyes lingered longer. On his tired face. His messy hair. His simple clothes. He looked nothing like the people she usually interacted with. "Stand up," she said. Eris obeyed, confused. She stepped closer. So close he could smell her perfume, cold, sharp, expensive. His heart raced. "Do I make you nervous?" she asked. Eris blinked. Yes. A little." Her lips curved, not into a smile, but into something unreadable. "Good." He wasn't sure what that meant. Then she walked past him, picking up a small drawing from the table. Leah had drawn him holding her hand. Elena stared at it longer than expected. "You really raise her alone?" she asked without looking at him. "Yes." "Where is her mother?" "She left years ago. Said she wasn't ready to be a parent." Elena put the drawing down. For the first time, her eyes softened, not cold, not harsh, but thoughtful. As if she understood something deeper. Then she looked straight at him. "Eris, do you think I came here to fire you?" He nodded slowly. "Yes." She walked closer again. "So if I don't fire you, what do you think I want?" Eris's breath caught. I don't know." Elena tilted her head slightly, her eyes piercing into his. "You sent me a message," she said in a low voice. "And now? I want to know why it affected me." Eris froze. Her next words shocked him more. "Tomorrow. 8 a.m., you and your daughter. I want both of you to come with me." "Come with you where?" he asked. She turned toward the door. You'll find out. And before he could ask anything else, she stepped out into the cold night. Eris barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Elena's sharp gaze, her cold voice, and the strange command she gave before leaving. Tomorrow. 8 a.m., you and your daughter. Come with me. What did she want? Why did she act so serious? Why involve Leah? He kept asking himself the same questions until his alarm rang. At 6:30 a.m., the house was quiet except for the soft humming of the heater. Eris got up, washed his face, and looked at himself in the mirror. He didn't look ready for anything. Not for work. Not for a CEO visit. Definitely not for a mysterious morning trip. He sighed. What have you done, Eris? But then he reminded himself, no matter what happened, he needed to stay calm for Leah. At 7 a.m., she walked sleepily into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. Papa, you woke up early. Eris forced a smile and gave her a warm hug. Yes. We have to go somewhere today. Where? She asked, grabbing her small breakfast bowl. He hesitated. I don't know. Leah giggled. How can you not know where we're going? Because a cold CEO shows up at night and gives random orders, he wanted to say. But instead he replied, it's a surprise. Leah's eyes sparkled. She loved surprises. Eris dressed her in a warm coat and fixed her hair gently. He packed her small bag, added her drawing book, and double-checked everything. His hands were shaking, but he pretended all was normal. At 7:50 a.m., they heard the low sound of a car engine outside. Eris's heart dropped. He went to the window. There it was. A black Audi. The same one from last night. Parked right in front of their house. Leah ran to look. Papa. Someone rich is here. Eris almost choked. That's my boss. Leah gasped dramatically. Did you do something wrong again? He sighed. Probably. A soft knock came at the door. Not loud, not aggressive, just controlled, confident. Eris opened it. Elena Knight stood there, flawless as always. Her long coat, her straight posture, her unreadable expression, everything about her looked powerful. But today, there was something slightly different. She wasn't looking at Eris. She was looking at Leah. The CEO's icy expression melted, just a tiny bit, but enough for Eris to notice. Good morning, Elena said quietly. Leah waved excitedly. Hi. Are you taking us somewhere fun? Eris closed his eyes for a second. Leah. But Elena nodded. Yes. Somewhere important. Eris blinked. Important? That sounded serious. Miss Elena, may I ask where we are going? He asked carefully. You may ask, she replied. And may I get an answer? No. He sighed. Elena stepped aside. Let's go. We are late. The three of them walked to the car. Leah happily skipped, Eris walked like a man heading toward a dangerous mission, Elena moved with her usual elegant confidence. Inside the car, Leah talked non-stop, telling stories about school, her favorite cartoon, and her new drawing ideas. Elena listened quietly, but something about her face softened each time Leah spoke. Eris watched them from the corner of his eye. Why was she suddenly interested in his daughter? Why did she ask them both to come? What exactly did she want? After almost 20 minutes of driving, the city buildings disappeared. They were heading toward the countryside now. Eris frowned. Miss Elena, this doesn't look like a work location. It isn't. Then what? You will see. The road curved toward a large iron gate. Security guards stepped forward, immediately opening it when they saw the black Audi. Behind the gate was a huge property, a mansion, tall trees, a lake, and gardens so perfectly shaped they looked unreal. Eris stared in disbelief. "Is this your home?" Elena didn't look at him. "Yes." Leah gasped. "Papa, are we going to live here?" Eris nearly choked again. "No. Of course not." Elena's voice cut through the moment. "That depends." Eris turned sharply. "Depends on what?" She finally met his eyes. "On what I decide today." The car rolled to a stop in front of the massive entrance. Eris felt his heart pounding. Whatever was about to happen. It was far bigger than a mistaken flirty message. The mansion doors opened with a soft but powerful sound, almost like a whisper from another world. Eris stepped inside with Leah holding his hand tightly. He had never seen anything like this: shiny marble floors, giant paintings on the tall walls, golden lamps hanging from the ceiling, and a staircase so wide it looked like something from a royal castle. Leah's eyes sparkled. "Papa, this house is bigger than my whole school." Eris nodded slowly. "Yes, much bigger." Elena walked ahead of them, her heels making sharp clicks that echoed through the hallway. Two house staff members bowed slightly as she passed. She didn't look at them, she simply moved like she belonged to a different level of life. Eris followed her nervously, unsure if he should walk fast, slow, or just run away. "Miss Elena," he finally said, "may I please know why we are here?" "You will," she replied without stopping. They entered a large sitting room filled with velvet chairs, glass tables, and books arranged so perfectly that not a single one was out of place. The air smelled like vanilla and something expensive Eris couldn't identify. Leah climbed onto a soft red sofa with excitement. "This is so comfortable." "Papa, can we get a sofa like this?" Eris sighed. "If we sell our house, maybe." Elena turned to face them. Her expression was calm, but there was something different today, a hint of emotion behind her eyes. "Sit down," she said. Eris did, still confused. Leah sat beside him, swinging her legs happily. Elena walked to a small cabinet, pulled out a photo frame, and placed it on the table. Eris looked down at it, and froze. The picture showed a younger Elena, holding the hand of a small boy. The child looked about 5 years old. His eyes were bright, full of joy, and he had a missing front tooth that made his smile adorable. Eris whispered, "This is your son?" Elena nodded slowly. "Was." A cold silence fell across the room. Eris felt a tightness in his chest. I'm sorry." Elena's voice was steady, but soft. "He passed away 3 years ago. A car accident." Leah stopped swinging her legs. Her smile faded. "That's very sad," she said in a small voice. Elena's eyes softened at Leah's words, more than they had at anything Eris ever said. She sat across from them. "For years," she began, "I believed emotions were useless. I believed strength meant controlling everything. I built walls around myself. I didn't want anyone close. After my son died, those walls became stronger." Eris listened quietly. He had never imagined she carried such pain. "And last night," she continued, "I received a message. A message that was not for me. A message full of warmth and humor. Something I haven't seen in a long time." Eris felt heat rush to his face. "I really am sorry." "I am not angry," she said, interrupting gently. "The message reminded me of something I lost." "Lost?" Eris asked. "Yes," she said quietly. "The feeling of someone speaking to me without fear." Eris was stunned. He had never thought a simple mistake could affect her this way. Elena leaned forward slightly. "When I saw your home, when I saw your daughter's drawings, I realized something." "What?" he asked carefully. "That you live a life very different from mine. And yet, Your world has something mine doesn't. Leah tilted her head. What is it? Elena looked at her gently. Warmth. The word hung in the air. Eris didn't know what to say. He wasn't rich, powerful, or important. He was just a tired dad trying to keep his little family safe. But hearing Elena say that, made his chest tighten with emotion. Before he could speak, Elena continued. I brought you here for a reason. I wanted to see, if I could feel something again. Something human. And? Eris asked. Elena looked directly into his eyes. And I did. Eris felt breathless. But she wasn't done. I want you and your daughter to spend the day here, she said calmly. With me. Eris blinked in shock. What? Why? To see, she said softly, if the warmth in your world can touch mine. He sat there frozen, unsure whether to be afraid, confused, or touched. But one thing was clear. This was no longer about a wrong message. This was something deeper. And far more dangerous. Eris was sure he had misheard her. Spend the day here. In this massive mansion. With the coldest CEO in the city. He stared at Elena, waiting for her to laugh and say it was a joke. But Elena Knight didn't joke. Not even by accident. Leah, however, reacted instantly. Really? We can stay here the whole day? She asked, eyes shining like tiny stars. Elena gave her a small nod. Yes. That one simple word made Leah jump happily on the sofa, her energy filling the room like sunlight. Eris rubbed his face with his hands, feeling overwhelmed. Miss Elena, this is too much. I don't think. I didn't ask if you think it is too much, she said calmly. I asked you to stay. Her eyes didn't leave his. There was something firm yet fragile in her expression, something he had never seen before. Eris took a slow breath. If Leah is comfortable, then okay. Elena nodded with quiet satisfaction. Good. She stood up and motioned for them to follow. They walked down a bright hallway, decorated with soft lights and family portraits. Most frames were empty. A few showed landscapes. Only one held a picture of Elena with her son. Eris noticed how Elena's gaze flickered toward it as they passed. The hallway opened into a giant indoor garden full of green plants, colorful flowers, and a glass ceiling that let sunlight pour inside. Leah gasped loudly. Papa! This looks like a fairy garden. Elena's lips moved slightly, a tiny smile, barely visible. It was my son's favorite place, she said quietly. Leah ran toward a small pond with glowing stones around it. Eris followed her, but Elena paused near the entrance, her expression complicated. Eris walked back to her. You don't have to explain anything, he said softly. But she looked at him. I brought you here because I needed to face this place again. I haven't stepped inside this garden for more than 2 years. Eris's eyes widened. Why now? Because your daughter reminds me of how my son used to smile. She carries a light that I have not seen for a long time. And I wanted to see if I could handle that light again. Eris felt a heavy emotion in his chest. So this is not just about yesterday's message, he said. No, she replied simply. It's about something else. Something I didn't know I needed. Before Eris could ask what she meant, Leah called out. Papa! Miss Elena! Come see this. They joined her near the pond. Leah pointed at the water excitedly. There are tiny fishes. And they sparkle. Elena kneeled beside her. They are called crystal koi. They shine when light touches them. Leah leaned closer. They look happy. Do fishes smile? Eris chuckled. I don't think so. Elena, surprisingly, answered differently. Maybe they do. Just not in a way we see. Leah's laughter filled the whole garden, bouncing against the walls like music. Elena watched her, almost mesmerized. Eris saw her eyes soften again, like cracks forming in a frozen lake. After some time, Elena stood. "Come," she said. "There is more." She led them to a private dining area where breakfast was already waiting, fresh fruit, warm pastries, juice, everything arranged perfectly. Leah's jaw dropped. "This is the fanciest food I've ever seen." Elena looked at her gently. "Eat as much as you want." Eris hesitated. "We really don't want to trouble you. You've already done. You are my guests," Elena said firmly. "And I don't offer hospitality halfway." He nodded, humbled. While they ate, Leah told silly stories about school. Eris laughed. Elena listened quietly at first, but then something unexpected happened. She laughed. Not loudly, just a soft, breathy laugh, but it was real. A sound that had been locked inside her for years. Eris stared at her, stunned. Elena noticed and raised an eyebrow. "Is my laughing surprising?" "A little," he admitted. "Get used to it," she said softly. "I'm discovering new things today." The air grew warmer between them, gentle, calm, fragile. But just as the atmosphere settled, a phone vibrated on the table. Elena glanced at the screen. Her expression changed instantly. Cold. Sharp. Dangerous. Eris felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "What's wrong?" he asked. Elena slowly stood up, eyes narrowing. "They found something," she said in a low voice. "Found what?" Eris asked. She looked at him, serious, guarded, almost protective. "Something connected to my son's death." The moment Elena's expression changed, the entire room seemed to freeze. Her eyes, once soft from laughter, had turned sharp and cold again, as if an invisible switch had been activated inside her. Eris felt the air tighten. "Miss Elena, what did they find?" She didn't answer immediately. She stared at her phone, jaw clenched. Leah noticed the tension and held Eris's sleeve gently. Elena finally spoke. "For 3 years, the official report said my son's death was an accident." Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. "But I never believed it. Something was wrong that day. And today, my team found new evidence." Eris leaned forward. "Evidence of what?" Elena lifted her eyes, and for the first time, they didn't look cold, they looked wounded. "Someone caused that accident." The words dropped like stones into the silent room. Eris felt a chill run through him. "Someone? You mean?" "Yes," she said quietly. "It wasn't fate. It wasn't bad luck. Someone wanted to hurt him, or me." Leah squeezed Eris's hand harder. "That's scary." Elena looked at her gently, then back at Eris. "There is more," she said. "The person connected to the accident works inside my company." Eris's heart jumped. "Inside your company?" "Yes." She exhaled slowly. "Someone close. Someone I trusted." The weight of her words settled over them like a heavy storm cloud. Eris spoke carefully. "Do you think there's still a danger?" Elena's eyes softened for a rare moment as she looked at him. "I don't know. But I do know one thing." She paused. "When I walked into your house last night, I didn't just see a mistake message. I saw something real. Something human. And today, I realized there are people around me who would destroy anything good I touch." Eris frowned. "What does this have to do with me?" "With us?" Elena stepped closer. "Because bringing you here may have made you a target too." Eris froze. "What?" Elena's voice lowered. "The moment someone sees you close to me, they may see you as leverage. Or a threat." He felt blood rush from his face. He looked at Leah, his world, his everything. You brought my daughter here, he whispered. Was that safe? Elena closed her eyes for a second. No. And that is why what I say next is important. She turned to him fully. Eris, you and your daughter cannot go back home. Eris stumbled back, shocked. What do you mean cannot? That's our life. Our place. Someone followed my car last night, she said quietly. They saw me go to your house. They know who you are now. Eris felt every muscle in his body tense with fear. But why involve us? We have nothing to do with your world. Elena's voice cracked, just a little. Because I brought you into it. Leah tugged Eris's sleeve again. Papa, are we in trouble? He kneeled in front of her, trying to smile. No, sweetheart. We're safe. Elena stepped forward. You will stay here. In the mansion. Protected. Until I find who is behind this. Eris shook his head. I can't just hide in your house. Yes, you can, she insisted. And you will. Because I won't risk losing someone again. He stared at her. Why us? Why do you care so much? For a moment, Elena didn't answer. She looked at Leah first, gentle, warm, then at Eris with eyes full of emotions she didn't know how to express. Because, she said softly, yesterday I felt nothing. Today. I felt too much. And I realized something. Eris swallowed. What? Elena stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. Your daughter reminded me how love feels. And you, reminded me how hope feels. His breath caught. And when you feel something after years of feeling nothing, she continued, you protect it. With everything you have. Eris didn't know what to say. His heart felt heavy, confused, afraid, but also strangely full. Then a guard rushed inside. Miss Knight. The suspect left the city perimeter. We need your order. Elena's face turned icy again. Prepare the team. I'm coming. She turned to Eris one last time. Stay here. Take care of Leah. And trust me. Then she walked away, strong, powerful, unstoppable. The doors closed behind her. Eris held Leah close, staring at the mansion walls around them. Yesterday, his life was simple. Today, he was standing in the middle of a storm he never asked for. A storm with danger, pain, and something else too. Something he wasn't ready to name. But he knew one thing. This was only the beginning of a story much bigger than a wrong message. It was the beginning of a new fate.